Hi, this is Tahir again. In this session, we will review about hosting controller control panel product, that how it works with Exchange server to facilitate Exchange hosting services in private and public cloud platform. We will also see that how hosting controller apply multi-tenancy and segregation, and how tenant admin can provision their services using control panel login interface. Before we proceed with the technical POC, I would like to present you the hosting controller company profile. It contains a few slides. It will hardly take 5 to 10 minutes, and then we will jump to have a technical presentation. So now let's start with the company profile and hosting controller introduction. Hosting controller have introduced first version in 1999, and at that time we were mainly focusing the website hosting business, and we proudly say that hosting controller was the first Windows based application that was offering IS website hosting. Since then we have more than 5,000 companies who using our application in more than 100 country worldwide. We are specialized in Microsoft product like Microsoft Exchange, SharePoint, Skype for Business, Active Directory, IS website hosting, database hosting, and DNS hosting. Okay, so hosting controller is a unified panel offer a full solution for web hosting companies. It is not just designed for a small hosting company, but this solution is very useful for such enterprise or corporate who have their internal private or public cloud to offer different services in multi-tenant environment. This solution is validated by the Microsoft by completing a certain test provided by the Microsoft. So all the implementation with the Exchange server from the control panel is according to the Microsoft standards. The enterprise applications that are supported in the hosting control application are Exchange servers. All versions of Exchange server are supported in the control panel, SharePoint, Skype for Business, Active Directory synchronization tool, Hyper-V and VMware, email signature, mailbox migrations. These modules and products are available under the hosting controller company profile. A simple logical diagram that how hosting controller communicate, how the control panel install and work with the Exchange server. Hosting controller basically use MS SQL database as a core engine to store all the control panel information in the SQL server. It connect with the Exchange server using remote PowerShell. This logical diagram display that how we can configure a hosting controller in failover setup. I have a separate video that how we can install hosting controller in failover platform, but let me give you a quick information here that we can have a two portal machine here, and these two portal machine will communicate with a SQL server, and that SQL server must be in failover setup like SQL cluster, SQL always on, or SQL mirror. Okay, so how hosting controller Exchange multi-tenancy applies? Hosting controller applies segregation at organization level. Let's say that if you create a control organization from the control panel, it will create separate address book, address list, GAL, room, and OAB. If you create multiple or a different organizational unit from the control panel, that it will have its separate organization, and we use custom attribute to filter its account for a particular organization, and this value will have custom attribute to value will store same as the organization name. So how segregation and how architectural flows applies by the hosting controller at the time of a tenant provisioning and mailbox provision. It's explained in this diagram Once you log in into the control panel interface, and let's say you try to provision a Contoso organization, the first request will be sent by the hosting controller to the Active Directory and verify that if this OU exists in the AD or not, and if it is not existent, then this OU will be created in the Active Directory, and if it is already existed, that same OU will be utilized by the control panel. After that task, the control panel will send the request to the Exchange server to provision accepted domain in Exchange server, and after that it will create different address lists like Contoso underscore address book policy, GAL, AL, room and OAB. And for the mailbox creation, the control panel will first establish communication with the Exchange server using remote PowerShell. It will create the mailbox in the Exchange server, apply address book policy. But before this step, we will create the user in the Active Directory. If user is already existed in the Active Directory, then the control panel will give you an option whether do you want to provision a new user for the mailbox, or you want the existing user to enable the mailbox services. And once the mailbox has been created, we apply custom attribute 2 and other segregation settings automatically, and this whole process take hardly 10 to 20 seconds. No manual work required for the system administrator to perform in the Exchange server. Everything is done automatically by the control panel. Okay. There is another business use cases that some companies would like to retain their domain controller information for a SSO purpose. Many companies have their internal business application or CRM or portal system, and they would like to have the same account to be provisioned with the cloud domain controller, which is located under your Exchange environment. So for that purpose, we have designed Active Directory synchronization product. It's a separate application that is installed on the customer site in their DC, and this product is designed for the purpose to push and synchronize customer object toward your domain controller. This product has the ability to push the passwords, user distribution group and mail contact. Even if the user is already exist on their domain controller with same UPN, then this product has the ability to map the existing user, and it synchronize user password in real time scenario within 10 seconds. So what will be the permissions or privileges for the tenant owner? Tenant owner is tenant admin is the one who owns the organization. They can provision mailboxes, they can modify, they can delete, but obviously these tasks can be moderate or restricted by the control panel administrator. The control panel administrator have the ability to disallow a customer to perform any delete, add or disable action. User hierarchy. There are 3 user level hierarchy in the control panel. The first hierarchy is, or the top boss is the global administrator, which we call it the hosting controller panel admin account. This control panel administrator can directly provision a customers in the control panel, or it can create sub admin account which we call reseller. It is more like a distributor account who can have its own offering, own services, and he can create customer by himself. So this is totally depend to your business nature, that which user level is suitable for your hosting services. Multi-tenancy level. The control panel apply the security level and it makes sure that even the data that is provisioned in the Exchange server shall not be visible to other tenants' accounts. So all the user of any particular organization, for example Contoso, its all accounts, its all data will not be visible to any other organization, for example Fabricam. This security level is not applied at the backend implementation but as well as the control panel interface as well. We make sure that one tenant admin or one control panel login shall not be able to view any other account services or provision data information. The control panel UI is very friendly, provide a very friendly interface. It is totally customizable. It's a responsive and device friendly GUI. Use the technology of bootstraps. It is totally customizable. Same interface will be available for all customer interface. You can change your company logo, theme, font size, etc. And the detailed instruction is available on in our help manual, that how you can modify the control panel login interface. Quota enforcement. Hosting controller offer to create different packages and services which you can assign to any tenant admin. You can create different SKUs, for example 1 GB, 2 GB, 10 GB of mailbox size with the specific quantity of the resources. For example, mailbox size is like 10 GB. You can set incoming and outgoing message size, prohibit and warning size, and maximum recipients. And if you assign these templates, mailbox template to any customer, he will not be able to modify it, but although he can upgrade and downgrade service plan. Let's say you have sell him two quantity of 1 GB and 2 GB. If the 2 GB is spare and customer have provision in mailbox with 1 GB, then he will be able to upgrade the plan. But the control panel will not allow to provision any extra mailboxes based on total limit assigned. Let's say if you have assigned 10 mailboxes quota to the customer, the control panel will not allow the customer to provision more than 10 mailboxes. Even in quota enforcement, there is other business use cases. Let's say you there an organization who requests from you that they want 50 GB of total mailbox size with 100 mailboxes, and it's up to them that which size they assign to which mailboxes. So different business use cases can be handled using the hosting controller plan manager. There are different flexible reports available in the control panel which give you information that which data has been provisioned in the control panel, which tenant have provision, how many mailboxes, which templates they have used. A very comprehensive and detailed reports are available in the control panel, and even it is very easy to implement any other report at the within the control panel interface. The control panel offers RESTful API. In fact, all the mechanism of the control panel is designed in such a way that the interface itself use API internally. It's for the purpose to make the implementation in a same manner that none of, or you can say it that to avoid inconsistency between the implementation of the API and web UI, the control panel itself use the APIs, so all the documentation and mechanism that any external business use cases that will be used by the corporate to call the hosting controller API to provision any services. So the same behavior will be like you are feeling from the interface, it will be from the APIs. All the actions that you can perform from the control panel interface are available in the API, and very comprehensive documents are available in our online guide to view the detail that how you can use different methods with their variable and input data information. So hosting controller is basically Canadian based company. This is the information showing on this screen. To contact our sales department, you can view the hosting controller website and telephone number. For any further query, you can contact the team. So this is it. We have concluded with the company background information. Now we can proceed in the control panel, that how we can connect Exchange server into the control panel and how we can provision its services. So let's log in into the control panel interface. This is the control panel UI. How to install and configure hosting controller. I have a video tutorial available which you can view it, but let's begin with the accessing the control panel and to configure the Exchange services in the control panel. In order to connect Exchange server remotely, remember we need to enable or allow Exchange server to connect remotely using PowerShell, and I have a separate video for that as well, and it's very simple to enable remote PowerShell in the Exchange server. So this is the fresh installation of the control panel. First thing first, we will need the control panel, that which services we want to provision within the control panel interface by navigating to the configuration section, cluster settings. On premises, there you can tell that which services you want to enable. My test lab have Exchange 2016 version, so I will enable Microsoft Exchange 2016, and that's it. You do not need to do anything else on this section unless you want to enable any other services like SharePoint or Sky for Business. Once we tell the control panel that our intention is to use Exchange 2016, the second phase would be to configure the server in the system, and that we can simply do it by add server list by clicking on add server. I have already clicked on this server. I have given a user friendly name, but it is pretty much the same interface. If we click on the add server, let's click on the edit server. Okay, so this is it. I haven't configured my Exchange server before in this control panel. I will give the Exchange server IP address, give the Exchange server account name. Obviously you can connect with the administrator account, but if you want to use any service account, any different account, then you can do that as well. But in this test POC, I will use the administrator account. Okay, so connectivity with the Exchange server using remote PowerShell has been successfully connected. The control panel will fetch the information and display here in the control panel interface. Few sections I would like to highlight, like a database selection mode. What is manual and what is automatic? I personally recommend that you should select automatic option. This is what this option is. When you provision any mailbox or any organization, the control panel will give you an ability that you specify a specific MBX database for that organization, and after that all the mailboxes will be created in that particular organization if you select option manual. This is manual option is good for small hosting company, but for the enterprise company who have large number of mailboxes, then manual option is not ideal. Let's say an organization unit have 2000 mailboxes. It wouldn't be a best approach to create all the mailbox in a single database. So for that purpose you should select option automatic. This automatic option will give the control to the Exchange server that it should assign any appropriate database to the mailbox at the time of provisioning from the control panel. Let's say there is an organization Contoso and you create a mailbox tony@contoso.com. The Exchange server will automatically assign any suitable MBX database to that mailbox. So I would recommend to use automatic option in case there are use cases that a large number of mailboxes will be existed in any particular organization, as well as it is recommended for the telcos and larger enterprise. So the domain controller information, we will select any domain controller. If you have multiple domain controller, then control panel will give you option to select in a multiple domain controller. It is for the purpose of high availability. If one domain controller goes down, then all the communication of the control panel with the Active Directory will be done using the secondary domain controller. And here as well you can have any service account for the control panel to communicate with the Exchange server, but in my test lab I will use the administrator account. Let's say if you create any service account, then this account must have full privileges on the root organizational unit, which I will select in this step. What is root organizational unit? Root organizational unit, that all the tenant will be created, that you will create from the control panel will be created here. Let's say if I go back to my Active Directory, I will, let's say I create one tenant with name tenants. So all the OU like Contoso, Fabricom, XYZ, they will be created right under this tenants, and in the control panel this will be considered as the root organizational unit, which let's say we will specify from this location. And when it is done, then we can click on save settings. So at this stage we have tell the control panel that we are going to use Microsoft Exchange Server 2016, and remember that if you are using Exchange 2019, the setting is pretty much the same. There is no difference in the UI or the user experience. The second step is to create different services mailbox templates, let's say 1 GB and 2 GB, etc. If you go to the service catalog, composite resource, add composite resource, it is more like a mailbox template. Let's say we are going to create a mailbox size of 1 GB. This is the display name, service provider Exchange 2016, user mailbox. We will specify the value, incoming message size, let's say 15, outgoing message size. This is totally up to your company policies. Warning size, let's say 900, maximum recipient 25. Which protocol you want to enable? Let's say we disable this one. Delete item retention settings. Do you want to the default one that is set on the mailbox, or the control panel give you the ability to override the default policy, and you can set any custom as per your requirement. Let's say I will override, I will say 5 days to retain deleted item, and click add composite resource. You can create another one, let's say okay. So now we have created a different mailbox templates. Now let's create a service plan, and in this service plan we will include the mailbox templates. Let's say any user friendly name. Sorry, the screen was disconnected. Let me give the service plan name, for example silver package, just a name. We do not need to enable this option, disk space and bandwidth, for the Exchange hosting. We will uncheck it and we will select Exchange resources. Okay, so there are different resources you can see, but why we need these information, since we have already created mailbox templates. So it is for the purpose in case any company want a bundle package, let's say 100 mailboxes, and with the total mailbox size like 50 GB, then this is more like a cumulative plan. Sorry, again my system is disconnected. Okay, sorry, it's back. So we in our demonstration we are going to use the to provision a services using a fixed size which we created and call it as a mailbox template. So what we will do, I will exclude all this. I will enable only those services which need to be enabled. For example, mail domain, number of accepted domain, I can say, let's say 2 accepted domain. I will skip this one because these properties are already included in the composite resource mailbox templates. Archive mailboxes, do you want to enable archive mailboxes? If you want to enable it, then you can give the quantity. Distribution list, I will say yes, let's say distribution list, this one. Incoming message size, let's say unlimited, because incoming and outgoing message size will be handled using the mailbox size properties. Resource mailbox, do you want to give resource mailbox or not? Remember that we can create a separate composite resource for the distribution list, resources and archive mailboxes. Once we create those composite resources, then we wouldn't need to specify value in here, but I have just created the template only for the mailboxes. So I will, if you want to enable public folder, then you can specify the value, but my main objective is to show you that how we can utilize mailbox templates. Let's say for 1 GB we give quantity 10, for 2 GB let's say 5 quantity and we click on add service plan. At this stage we have tell the control panel that we are using Exchange 2016. We have created different mailbox template and we have included those template in a service package. Before we actually provision any service account, I will show you that how there are different administrative tasks existed at the control panel admin interface. We have connected in the control panel at the administrator level. In the configuration section, you should set the password complexity based on your AD policy. Let's say I will need to enable password policy, number of characters, special characters, etc. You must specify these values which is according to your domain controller policy. So this check will be applied at the control panel interface whenever any customer try to reset or provision any mailbox, reset a password or provision any mailbox. Second is, there are other administration level tasks like manage role permissions. Manage role permission, it is the ability to allow or disallow customer in the control panel to perform any certain tasks. For example, I will say a client interface. Client is actually the tenant admin. In my demonstration, I will also I will only provision client, which you can call it customer account, customer control panel login account. So which restriction we want to implement on client role from the control panel interface? Let's say go to the Exchange interface. Do not perform to delete action. Organization do not allow to create or delete any organization or delete mail domain account. We should apply these type of restrictions to avoid any mishap, because a customer can mistakenly delete their data from the control panel, and it will be a very difficult job for the Exchange administrator to restore it back their data. So you can apply certain tasks as per the requirement. You can hide any particular menu. For example, there is internal ticketing system in the control panel, but if you are using any other communication channel or any external ticketing system, then you can hide those menu within the control panel interface, as well as any other menu you do not want to display to the customer, then you can hide it. So I have hide a couple of menu which will not be visible at the client interface. Other administrator tasks for the Exchange, like you can view the store information from the control panel, MBX information you can mount, dismount, but obviously I will prefer that you, for the enterprise companies, to perform these actions
using your Exchange server. But if you have not if you do not have any other option, then certainly you can do it from the control panel interface. Okay, other tasks like user mailbox databases, you can assign any particular MBX database to any organization or any tenant owner. So all their mailboxes will be created in that particular MBX server. But in our test lab, in this demonstration, I have selected automatic option. So MBX will be automatically assigned by the Exchange server. Outlook Anywhere, you can enable or disable Outlook Anywhere from the control panel interface, but again I will say that this task should be done from the Exchange server to avoid any mishap. Okay, manage trigger is for the advanced customer in case there is any requirement for your company that you want to execute any specific Exchange PowerShell command after the mailbox creation from the control panel interface, then such trigger or such automatic mechanism we have provided in the control panel, that it will automatically be executed after the mailbox creation, and different checks you can apply, or you can call it different conditions. Okay, user mailbox policies, it is more like if you have a tenant admin, then you can assign any specific OA policy and active sync policy, then after that customer will not be able to select any other OA policy or active sync policy, and it will be, once you assign any particular OA policy, then it will be automatically be enabled at the time of a mailbox creation by the control panel. So let's you can explore it different settings from this interface, and even if some menu which if you think that it is confusable, then obviously we can assist to disable menu, and the control panel have different the control panel interface is available in different languages. You can download different language. By default it comes with the English, but if you want any other language, then it is available on our website, and it is very easy to set in the control panel, set and enable in the control panel interface. So let's proceed and provision the control panel login account. Right now we are just going to enable one simple account in the control panel. I will say PUC1. This is the control panel username. I will give it a PUC. Description, testing Exchange services, not mandatory, not compulsory, it's optional to give a description. Test SMTP account, select the role. Remember, I have mentioned that reseller is more like sub-administrator account or distribution account. He can also create different services plan under its interface and create their own client. But being a control panel administrator, you can directly provision the customers. So I will select client, which will be considered basically a tenant admin. Sell a plan for the during the creation. You can sell it later as well. I have created only one plan at this stage, so showing only one plan, the control panel interface. Let's click on add panel user. At this stage we have created the control panel account. Using this account, the client can able to access the control panel interface. Being administrator, you can also jump in the control panel interface by clicking on auto login option. So now you can see that the user interface or the control panel level has been changed to from administrator to a client. Now let me jump back to the administrator interface. Now I'm back to the administrator interface. From here I can provision an Exchange tenant. Being administrator, I can provision the Exchange services for the customer behalf. If I click on Exchange mail domain, do you want to create the mail domain for myself, for the administrator? No, I will say that I am going to create this for my customer or client on his behalf, POC1. Okay, what will be the organization name? Let's say the organization name is POC1, and what is the mail domain? As an example, I will say POC1.com, just an example. So now let me click on create Exchange mail domain. So you can see that mail domain has been created successfully in the Exchange server. What operation would have done by the control panel with this task? The control panel will create this organization in the Active Directory. Okay, let's go to the Active Directory and verify the organization unit. Remember that we have selected tenant OU as the root organization unit. So all the other organization or customer tenant will be created right under it. So POC1 organization unit has been created in the Active Directory. So now let's proceed to provision any mailboxes for this organization. If I click on mailbox, create mailbox. In fact, let's do this operation from the customer interface. So you will see that even the control panel give the full flexibility for the customer to provision their services. But remember that he cannot provision any or abuse or violate the resources other than the one which is allocated by the system administrator in the form of service plan. So provisioning, Exchange, mailboxes, provision mailbox. Let's say test 1, the account, mailbox account the customer is creating. Okay, this is the password which we can generate automatically from the control panel interface. Okay, a mailbox offering. Remember that we have assigned or allocated 2 different templates with specific quantity. So it will be customer choice to select which SKUs. He can update the Active Directory profile during the mailbox creation, but obviously these information can be updated later as well. After the mailbox creation, this will be the active sync policy. If you have assigned any particular active sync policy for the POC customer, then the control panel will only display that one. As a default, in my system only one policy with name default active sync policy, and same goes for the OVA policy. Remember that if you want to create mailbox with new user in the Active Directory, then you can select this option. And let's say if the user is already existed in the Active Directory, then you can select this option and choose existing. When you click on choose existing, the hosting controller will only fetch the user from that particular OU. It will not make the search on whole OU. Okay, it is for the security purpose that the control panel will fetch the user from the tenant for the which user is being assigned as a tenant admin. So let's click on create mailbox account. It will take couple of seconds to provision the mailbox in the Exchange server. So you can see that the mailbox has been created. So now we have created one mailbox with 1 GB size. Let's say we want to create another mailbox with name let's say test2. Generate any password. I will copy the password to show you that how we can log in with this account. Okay, let's say this time we select 2 GB mailbox size, create a mailbox. Once the mailbox has been created, I will show you that this is a real-time demonstration that the account will be usable in the Exchange server. We can access it. Let's open the OVA URL. Okay, so you can see that we able to access the OVA. Going back to the control panel interface, let me see that after the mailbox creation, what other operation we can do on the mailbox. If we click on the dashboard setting, all the information for the mailbox will be displayed in here. If you click on dashboard, we can view mailbox statistics from here. If we click on refresh, it will fetch the information from the Exchange server and display in here. Other information mailbox type, which database has been assigned to the to this account, organization name, network login name. We can enable or disable OA policy. We can change password from here. We can update the Active Directory profile for the account from the control from here, from this screen. Advanced property, in case a tenant admin have a need to upgrade or downgrade any specific mailbox, then he can do it from here. Retention policies, mailbox signature, this signature applies only at the OA. For the Outlook, we have a separate product which work independently. Email aliases, membership, send on behalf, accepted sender, almost all the basic operation that is required by a tenant admin to perform different operation or operation that are frequently or commonly being used on daily basis can be set from or can be operated from the control panel interface. Any menu on the left side, if you think that it should not be visible to tenant admin or it shouldn't be display here, then it can be disabled very easily within the control panel interface. So this flexibility is also available in the control panel interface. For the Exchange organization, you can create any distribution group for the organization. There are different type of group distribution, security, dynamic distribution group, and the same behavior. You want to create a new group in the Active Directory, or you want to enable the distribution list services for any existing group in the AD. Let's provision to create a one test group, POC group. Okay, do you want to enable sender inside and outside of my organization? It's totally depend on your business use cases. Which one should be the administrator of the group? You can have multiple account, but in my example I will select any one, select the members for the group. Remember that these settings you can modify it after the creations. You can update the administrator, update the member list, or any other property for the group after the creation. So see, this is the distribution group, and same to modify any properties, you can click on the dashboard. See, these are the values of the group. You can change your display name, etc. Okay, members, administrator, send on behalf. So I would say again that all the common operations that are required by any Exchange tenant admin are available in the control panel interface. Okay, let me show you the data which is created in the Exchange in the Active Directory. See, these are the users are provisioned and the group are provisioned in the Active Directory. Segregation etc. automatically applied by the control panel in the user. So extension attribute 2 value is set. Let's say your company do not want to use extension attribute 2, which might be already using in any other application integration. Then you can give any other extension attribute to the control panel for the segregation. Sorry, the system was disconnected again, but it's back. Okay. So another business use cases which is frequently used. Obviously, we have created a single login to access this interface. An organization have option, or they have their requirement that they would need to have multiple staff member to access the control panel interface to operate different action. So they can create different staff member to provision or services for their organizations, for this particular organization. So and the idea and the advantage would be for having a staff member that the control panel will capture audit logging for the each account that is used to access the control panel interface. I will go back to the control panel administrator interface. In the configuration section, you can see audit logs. All the activity that any customer perform in the control panel will be captured in the system and will be displayed in audit log. You can see that different actions has been captured, like for the user, because we have accessed this customer account, it will display the IP address, timestamp, and the actions and the action status, and which actions is actual performed for the account. If you click on the show detail, this information will be visible here. The OK status, you can see OK status mean that that the mailboxes has been created, and what was the mailbox name, it is test2, and if at any stage if the error has been returned by the control panel system, it will be logged here as well, and it will display as a failure. If any customer have deleted any mailboxes, then same action will be listed here, like delete exchange mailbox action has been performed at certain time by any particular customer. Okay. So that is this is it for the today demonstration. I hope this will be helpful for you. Obviously there are many other options, features and settings available in the control panel interface, but the purpose of this session was just to introduce about the hosting control product, how we can connect the exchange servers, and how we can provision different services in multi-tenancy environment. So each customer will be restricted and in such a manner that it will not be able to view information of any other organization. How we set up organization in the Active Directory, how we provision user in the domain controller using the control panel interface. If you have any query or if you have any confusion, feel free to ask the question or contact our team. Thank you guys. Have a nice day. Bye bye.